cool. We are back. How y'all doing today? How you doing, man?
Good. How about you? It's a beautiful day, man.
This is our first show of my retirement. I'm wearing my retirement shirt.
So this is what it's going to come to is like floral, crazy shirts.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Dixon's flannels and stuff. And
trade in like all the other shirts and get like Tommy Bahama and like Dixon like crazy shirts.
Right. I mean, I don't want to be mistaken for a certain demographic of people that wear Hawaiian shirts, but it's very comfortable. And I like the messaging on it. It's got some cannabis leaves and a couple happy joints here and there. And, it's pretty cool. I like it. So good on you to the boys at Dixon, Danny and all the rest of them. They make some good quality stuff, and I like it. So I wear it. So anyway, first day of retirement on the podcast.
Well,
episode 55. Wow, what a week, dude.
So let's start off with, so Sunday, August 1st was the official, you stated that
Sunday night at midnight, yeah.
We're going to temporarily close until further notice, or, you decide to bounce back into it.
Yeah.
So you sent out, I guess, an email hit the socials, I guess, was it
sent out
Thursday?
We sent out an email to society on like Wednesday, sent out an email to the public on Friday, made a social post on Saturday morning. Yeah.
So let's start off with you sitting there and trying to come up with your words that you sent out.
Oh, wow, man.
Because you wrote, for those that don't know, go to the Barrel Brand Social, Facebook, Instagram. If you're signed up for the emails, you all got it. Go back and read it. Take some time. Very well written.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I would say, so like kind of, it's before we got on, you said it took you about an hour, which...
Took me an hour.
I'm kind of shocked. I was going to actually say, I'm like, I bet that took him like 3-4 hours, a couple days of, no, like scratch, cut it, put it.
It took an hour. It took like multiple cuts because I would start, you know how I do, man. I'll go down a path and it takes me 7-8 minutes to come back to what I'm really talking about. I go on these stories and shit. So if I'm doing it by myself, it's on me to catch myself. Mm-hmm. So, I know that I want to keep it under like 10 minutes. So I get to the 8-minute mark, and I've been pretty good and I've gotten my thoughts out there, and it's been 8 minutes of like, hey, just thank you, thank you. And I appreciate it, whether you helped or bought or just said, hey, it looks cool. Like those all meant a lot of things. So then about the 8-minute mark, I'm like, all right, well, just wrap this up. And I started to cry a little bit, had to hold it back. I didn't want to stop talking. Like it felt like sort of my last, like, hey guys, like this is it. Like, and for all intents and purposes, it was. We'll have a couple more days where we open the shop and we let people buy bulk and whatnot, to help them out. But other than that, it's it. I sent out my last packages yesterday morning from the weekend, from the sale. Or not the sale, but the announcement. And I made the right choice.
It's good.
Absolutely made the right choice. It was not easy. I took the entire weekend, Jeff, and I said to myself, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not really doing anything unless it's, kids want to go and get something to eat or, whatever, something, take them to their friends. Dude, I sat on my back porch for basically 3 days straight, just contemplating, thinking, reading, writing, listening to music, talking to my wife, talking to my mom. Just really, really did exactly what I set out to do, which was me being by myself, not be influenced by other people, what they think about my business or me. Let me really have a serious conversation with myself. I knew I'd already made the decision to shut it down, but I hadn't really dealt with the emotions yet. And so for, 3 days or whatever, basically I would be sitting there and just fine. Mm-hmm. And then something would hit me. I'd get a message from somebody, it'd be like, I haven't even gotten to respond to messages yet. I still have to sit down and respond. And the reason I haven't yet, well, I hadn't before this came out, obviously, but the reason I haven't yet is I want to spend time responding to people. I don't want it to be, copy paste.
Well, you don't want it to be quick. No. You can see on some social media things, it's very quick response. It's not like a full thought goes into
right
that. Someone could have wrote 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, and you're like, oh man, I really appreciate,
Yeah.
you can see it when it's done like that.
Yeah.
Versus so there's nothing wrong with that. Taking the time. That's
and for some people listening right now, you may be like, what is this guy talking about? Well, the last episodes, sorry, we didn't go over it. The last episode, we made the announcement that we'd be shutting down Barrel Brands. It's my company. We'd be shutting it down after a few years of operation, and it's not easy, but it's something that I chose to do because of my mental health, and I'm really getting a good grasp on everything, and I think that it's the right thing to do. I want to spend more time doing other things. So anyway, I digress. So, I get through making that video and everything and put it out, and I'm on the back porch for a few days, and I wake up today and I'm like, okay, today's gonna be a pretty good test because it's been a few days. Mm-hmm. I don't have any orders to check or to send out today. I don't have to do anything barrel related if I don't want to. And man, it feels good. It feels good. I'm very sorry that people fell in love with our product and then I stopped making it. I do not like that. But, people fell in love with a 1979, a Hemi Cuda too, or whatever, and they stopped making it. Yeah. That's what made it special, So hopefully, I don't expect anybody to keep our product. It does have an expiration date, like sitting around for 30 years. But, as you use the product over the next year or so, I would assume, you use it and you remember where it came from, and it makes you feel good, and that's it. It helps, and I'm glad that we could do that. However, like I said, all good things come to an end, and it's probably the most adult and sound decision that I've made of sound, mind, and body in a very long time. Not an impulse. Took me well over a year to decide to do this.
Yeah, because you've talked about it since earlier this year, mulling it over.
Yeah. And that's just outward. Yeah, I've been mulling it over in my head with my family for, probably over a year now. Yeah. Well over a year.
You talk to me, other people we've had on the podcast, and it's like, it's like, dude, that's not our decision to make, like what you should and shouldn't do.
Right.
Because if we're like, oh, yeah, keep it going, and then internally you're just going nuts, we didn't help you at all. Just for the greed of, keep it going because we like what you do.
Right.
Which I'm assuming many people would, hope that you would have continued it on. But I think through this, your things you've posted over the past, years, I think that they'll see the changes within you and everything else, that it was more for the benefit of your mental state and the new chapter in your life. And then someday down the road when you're ready, maybe you will, maybe you won't. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever go back to manufacturing a product for people, just because as soon as you start doing it, you start being responsible for a lot of things that are sort of out of your control. Or maybe they are in your control if you're hyper focused about the control or whatever. But listen, entrepreneurship, owning your own business, dealing with the state and with the federal governments, dealing with regulations, dealing with the counties, it's a young man's game. And I mean young man as in young energy and lots of it. And not, God forbid anybody hears this and takes this the wrong way, but I'm going to say it. You got a family and you're running a business, and that business is keeping you from your family. I hope that one day you don't have to look back and resent that business because you didn't spend enough time with your family. Family's going to be there. Businesses don't have to be. Businesses come and go. They're good, they're bad, they're indifferent, they're straight, they're crooked, they're whatever. Your family is always there. And when you realize that you don't have that much longer with your family in your house, at least your kids, you either make a decision to change so you can spend more time with them, or one day you will have that regret that I spoke about, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I can't tell the future. It's just sort of what's in my gut.
No, but you had to do what's best for you. And I think a lot of people, I was reading Matt Vincent, who owns Hate Brand, guy out of St. Louis, I think originally from Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think actually Kansas area. He sends out a weekly email, and today's his focus was, I think he actually sent it yesterday, about where's your energy and time going. And he had a paragraph in his little weekly email talking about, so many people are chasing a dollar, trying to get that perfect white picket fence, this, and this dream. But then how many people are making that money that they want, but not truly happy in their day to day? So then you go through this over and over, and then you just kind of become the cog in the wheel, as many people say.
Yeah.
And he really makes, great points of where's your energy going? Like how many people will have the courage and the energy to step away from something that to others is like, dude, why would you step away from that? Oh, the money, or like, oh, that'd be so cool. But you don't see the internal aspect, the behind the scenes, the 24/7, 365 things that are going on.
Right.
Like you're saying,
yeah,
you're held to a different standard being the owner and the entrepreneur, that orders don't stop.
But let's not forget, not only have I been the owner, but I've been the sole employee that didn't get paid.
Yeah,
I've never cut myself a check. I've never paid anybody to work for Barrel other than a short-term W-9 employee, Brendan, when he was with us, and that was because it's all like it's scraped together. I couldn't afford it. It was all going back to the company.
Yeah.
So you take somebody that's stressed at the 60,000-foot view, and that's your strategic view if you're a military guy or gal. But then you get down, more of the maybe the 15,000-foot view, and now you're looking at sort of an organizational view. Yeah. And then you get down in the weeds, and you go, okay, now you got management that's dealing with, keeping the employee structure. This was all me.
Yeah.
So I've got to answer to myself as the employee to the employer. I've got to answer to the customers as the manufacturer and the quality control. I've got to answer to USPS for all of my weights and accuracies and just begging them to not lose my shit. The list goes on and on. It really is an endless list. You can never shut it off. I go to bed at night, I'm thinking about things I have to do tomorrow. But I tell you what, this weekend, Jeff, and last night I went to fucking bed.
Felt peace.
Bro, I felt peace like I have never felt before. No, that's twofold or three or fourfold. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And that's a big thing because, too, with your products, people don't realize, too, with these oils, it's not like pour. Oh, you want this expression? Cool. It's not like you just pour it in the bottle and shake it up and put it in the mail. These are things that have sat for 6 months
or a year or longer.
Yeah. In a barrel, aging no different than, certain whiskeys, bourbons, and wines. Like, there's an art and a science to this. It's not like, hey, let me call the manufacturer. We're almost out of this. I need you this next week to focus on this product. Okay, cool. We'll pump out. It didn't work that way.
No. And you got people that, bless their hearts, they just don't know, they don't understand, or maybe they're not quite aware of what it takes. But hey, the one instance that I get a lot more than anything is, hey, are you going to come out with this again? Well, not everybody's been around since day one. Yeah. On day one, I told everybody, when I make a product and it's gone, it's gone. I'm not creating a formula. I'm not creating a science here.
Well, even was just vanilla for the simplest names that you've had. Every single one of those was different.
Yeah. Yeah. Some are more oak, some are more vanilla, some, more boozy.
One had a little bit, I think you put more tobacco in it of one.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it just really mattered. So it's been a passion project. It's been a labor of love, though.
Even both cabins didn't smell the same.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was always something new. It was always something different. And it got to the point where it got a little crazy, like Jordan and I, our marketing guru and, all things social media guru, is, we work together to make some really cool things for people. But we also did it knowing that, like, we already sort of knew we were making special things because we knew it wouldn't last forever. But then you have customers coming in all the time that are like, well, why don't you make this anymore? Well, if you want Hugo Boss or Christian Dior, then by all means, have at it. Yeah. That's not what we did. And it's not
even those companies still too. Like, think of certain colognes when we were younger that were like, oh man, this is the best thing ever. Oh, it's gone. Oh, damn. Yeah. And then down the road, they bring it back.
Yep. Right. Who knows?
That's with anything. That's
you never
clothing, shoes, cars.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I think the only way that it would be brought back, like really brought back, is if somebody else buys it. And I will say that we are in conversations with a couple people right now that are very interested in buying the company. But that's all it is at this point, is interest.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. And, we'll make the announcement if something comes up to where somebody says, hey, they give they want to put in the right effort and prove that it's going to be the right fit. And one of them is a customer, a longtime customer. So it's pretty neat to imagine passing it off to a customer that's been there since day one, knows the passion, knows the product, knows the backstory, and can continue as a family business. It's not like, hey, we want to buy this and then we're going to sort of incorporate some of your ideas into this other product line. Then we're going to dissolve the company. And then you're like, well, I helped line the pockets of another fucking rich bastard. That's all it is, So I don't want to do that. So hopefully
keep it into the hands of more craftsmanship and kind of the way you created it.
That's what it is. I mean, it's what it is. And I would rather turn it off and not make another dime than see it turned into a publicity stunt or this to where the barrel aging could easily be viewed as sort of like a gimmick, but it does provide something unique. So it's just there's so much involved. And a lot of people don't realize what's involved. And I forgive them for that. They don't know. They just have no idea what it takes. So
nobody does with anything. No different got an iPhone sitting next to me on the other side. It's cool. You go and pick it up in the fancy box. You don't see how many hands of, research, R&D and research and development in California as you read the back of your Apple products where it was designed and, it's obviously made in China.
Yeah.
You have no idea how many thousands of hours have gone into these things.
Yeah.
You just get the final product. Like, well, I don't see what the big deal is.
Right.
No different than your car you drive or the clothes you have on. There's a lot of time that goes into those things that you just don't see. And I think we've modernized over the, course of mankind. We have gone away from those things versus the old ways of craftsmanship. If you were a blacksmith and I needed new horseshoes from a horse, okay, it's going to be, a couple days. It's not just something that's prefab, pulled out, and away we go, which some of our products these days literally are that fast.
Right.
Even previously working for a supplement company, we got low on stuff, where it's getting processed and manufactured wasn't far.
Right.
Depending what was going on, they could be like, yeah, we can probably have that next week. So, week downtime is not a big deal. Yeah. But to a lot of other companies, starting off,
it's huge.
Yeah, that's a lifetime.
Yeah. So, I think, again, I'll say that it was the right decision. I'm extremely satisfied with my decision. I sit here with a very, very clear mind and clear heart and no stress or anxiety about it. So, I just want to say thank you again. I want to use this platform to say thank you. I want to take this time and say, coming from somebody that was, hospitalized not 3 years ago, for a mental breakdown, to be able to sit here 3 years later, probably the best shape of my life mentally, is just such a huge deal for me. I thought I was done, Jeff. I really thought, and Barrel Brands was keeping me going, but it was also, as I got better, the demand, let's see, how can I put this? While I was stressed, while I was at my craziest, the demand for Barrel was at its highest. Makes sense, right? I wasn't stopping. The trajectory was high. As I started getting better and putting less into the company, the trajectory started dropping a little bit.
Well, I think
I started getting better.
Kind of the carrot at the end of the string on the treadmill.
Right.
I think that's what Barrel Brands was to you.
Yeah, it kept me going.
So after your collapse was,
yes,
I'm always trying to get the carrot. Oh, it's almost there. Oh, and then now you're a little further back. I think it was always that just little object out there that just kept you going enough, but not enough that it full circled to incorporate mentally getting you where you wanted to be or needed to be, or physically, obviously, because you took some physical tolls too, and that's going to happen with being so laser focused, lack of eating and, fitness and just long hours, days, nights, etc. But yeah, it was just enough. I guess it was kind of like your drug, just enough to keep you functioning, but not functioning at where you truly need to be. And I think there's a lot of business owners. I know some, and you know some too, other business owners, entrepreneurs that have collapsed, been down for days. And it's like, you preach these words to people, but it's like, you want to focus and make something such a success, which is great. But if you go that hard and you go to a vegetative state or die, you did nothing. And hopefully things are in place, blah, 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 that whatever you created keeps going. But you're not preaching the correct words of how to mentally and physically help yourself if you're so just involved and, entangled into your business that everything else ceases to exist. You can't do something if you're not giving yourself good attention.
Yeah. God forbid you die. I mean, can you imagine the people around you would just be like, it's such a shame. He had so much going for him. He did so much.
And then, that's what you hope is, you get what you would be.
But what you don't want is don't want people to be like, well, if he would have just fucking done this.
If you would have went to bed a couple hours earlier, didn't pull those and didn't this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. A lot of people don't realize, met one entrepreneur who's a multimillionaire who knows billionaires. And he even said before in his life, he goes, yeah, it'd be great to be a billionaire, but I don't want to be one of these big billionaires. These guys got multiple phones, never going nonstop. Yeah. Never sleeping, never a moment, which who's to say they are, but they're wired differently for a reason. Henceforth, there's only a handful of them. But
you know what I want more than any money? What I want more than anything, than anything else in the world? Here's what I want, guys. I want in 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, God willing, I'm still alive, I want to pick up the phone or answer the door and it's my kid and they say, Dad, I need to talk. And I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm not on a business trip. I'm not in a meeting. I'm not taking care of paperwork. I'm not dealing with the federal government or the state. I am there. Can't be there forever.
Well, no,
can't be there forever. So why not be there as much as you can now? So I caught myself complaining about having to take my kids all over the place one day. And then I was like, wait a minute. You get to do that. Yeah. You don't have to. You get to. You're lucky that you get to take your beautiful children places. How many people are divorced? How many people are dead? How many people are separated? How many people are deployed? How many people are working 24/7? I get to get in the car with my kids, give them a pep talk them down, just sit in silence, whatever it may be. I get to sit with my children, and I get to be there for them. And to me, growing up the way that I did, without a father and a lot of times without my mom around, if I can do that, I win. I win at everything. You can take my house, you can take my car, you can take fucking everything you want. I win at my life if I'm there and my intent is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, who do anything in life, you got to look at it as what's the balance to everything.
Yeah. Sure.
Coming from stuff I used to do, being on call 24/7, 365, people texting you, calling you, emailing you on holidays. It's like, these aren't pertinent things. This is not life or death to you.
Yeah.
It seems, but when we're talking about the commodity that we're dealing with, and this is like, something someone can throw out of their wallet. It's not like, dealing with $1 million things and, millions and millions of type of orders.
Yeah.
It gets daunting and it wears and tears on you, no different than you. You have constant social media. You have people that'll text you, email, call you.
Yeah.
That's like, there's got to be a balance to anything you do. And that's the sad thing is, like Matt talked about in his email, like he talked about, I guess it was his early 20 to 27, was always concerned about, is it good enough? What about them? This, and that. And then he talked about from late 20s into his 30s, how it was just driven, focused on his goals. What do I need to do? What's in my lane? What do I need to accomplish? This, and that. And that's where people need to do is like, and that's such a hard thing to say, like, oh, I just got to worry about myself. Well, yes, you do. But when a business is in a play, whether you're the owner or just the worker, other people don't let you have those. Someone is always trying to pull you aside and do this and that. And it's such a hard balance. But I think if the true workforce could wrap themselves around and having that balance no matter what the job. I know certain ones are going to be a little bit more
difficult. It's a lot easier to have balance when you work for someone than when you work by yourself or for yourself.
Yeah.
Like that balance is much easier to come by.
But I think if the entire workforce understood this balance, like a lot of European countries do.
Yeah.
What was it? Spain takes the entire month of August off.
Okay.
I believe. Could be wrong.
There's a lot of countries that have 4-day work weeks.
That do that. Like, it is completely possible. And all those studies prove you, like my one neighbor, he works 4 10s.
Yeah.
Dude, I do not see him on those days because he's probably going way past.
Yeah.
But then when he's not, he's outside doing his garden. He might be mowing. Him and his wife are running around. But, like, it's truly proven that, you know, people will give it. If you give them some, they will give it back to you. But when you demand, how, you know, and you keep cracking the whip, how many more people? You're going to have very warped-minded people to want to just get in line and do that.
Well, I think that we live in a world full of warped people. I think we live in a world full of people that have been conditioned to be okay with being warped.
And I think,
you don't even realize that you're warped.
Yeah.
You just,
and a lot of those people think
normal.
that they don't have other options, but there are always options. And that's another
always
thing
options.
too that Matt talked about in the email. There are always options.
Yeah.
It may not be the ideal option for the time being, but there are options and everything like that.
Yeah, man. And I think that if people would step their lives backwards a little, like if you you know how you used to work your way backwards in a math problem, you know, sort of prove your math or whatever. What if if you think about it like this, let's say you're married. I'm going to take my situation and then I'll embellish a little bit. Married, 2 kids, got a house, kids are in school. Let's say you got 2 cars, probably got 2 car payments. Most families do, I think. Maybe you want to go on vacation. Maybe you want to buy some property one day. Maybe this isn't your forever home. Maybe you're saving for a new Ford Bronco. Fuck, I don't know. Whatever you're doing. But there's going to be a time where you're like, man, I'm so fucking stressed out. Work is kicking my ass. Okay, cool. Well, let's go backwards and let's prove our math here. You're working extra hours. Why? Well, because there's something new that I want to do or my family wants to do. Okay, cool. So you spend an extra month of your life working towards something. Mm-hmm. But you're sitting here in the present moment saying, God, I'm stressed. I got to get back at it tomorrow. I'm going to be doing this for days or weeks or months or whatever it is. So you take that and you go, okay, what if I wasn't doing that? I wouldn't get said thing as soon, but all of this time in between where my mind is racing and I'm not there and I'm out busy and I'm traveling and I'm eating at restaurants and I'm on the plane or whatever you're doing, all that time is what? Where did it go? You can't get it back.
Yeah.
So if you take out, if you go backwards and you take out the stressors or the needs or the desires, maybe you go, I don't really need that brand new Toyota I'm driving. Maybe I'll go find like a 2000 Toyota. It's reliable as shit. I know it's going to get me where it goes. It's not embarrassing to drive around, whatever your hang up might be. And then you sit with that for a while and you go, wait, I don't have to work extra hours now.
Yeah.
I don't have to, like, you start pulling things out as you go backwards and you go, well, I want to go on vacation twice a year with my family just to give everybody a break. So what does that mean I have to do? Well, step backwards. Maybe you got to get rid of, your habit of buying all the new Jordans. Or maybe you got to not buy every fucking shiny new thing that comes your way. That was my problem for a long time.
I think that's most people, and that's, we're all guilty of this. I'm included. We live in that society that we see so much on TV, celebrities, et cetera, that, got to have that.
Yeah.
And it's already proven that majority of people live beyond their means. And you see and want it for the status thing, and like I hear people talk all the time, like, oh, we're doing this and that, or our house costs this. It's like, that's great. But if you feel you have to talk about the material things, the cost of your house or your trip or your car, that's all you have to talk about. You have no other happiness. My wife and I were talking about this because we overheard some people. Well, she did. And we were talking about, like, you just have, that's all you have to talk about. You got kids or other things, like, cool, like, or like the trip, like how fun it was to be with the family or go here. Oh man, it was so beautiful to see this and that. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, we spent X amount of dollars on this, or, yeah, we just sold our house and bought this one. That costs, that's what our,
Yeah. Everybody does it. Like, that's why I avoid so many social engagements anymore, because it's a dick comparison. That's all. It's just everybody, and like, I'm sorry, but even some of my friends, I go to your house and everybody's just like, oh, I got this new truck. Oh, I'm going here. Oh, I did this. Oh, and everything is, look at me. Everything is. And so after a few minutes of watching this, even with especially with your friends or family, you're just like, fuck, I am the fucking outsider here. You guys are fucking nuts. And I'm the outsider. I'm the one that's fucking weird. The guy that doesn't want the car payment, the guy that doesn't want the massive house or the massive house payment, the guy that doesn't need every new version of X, Y, or Z that comes out, that guy's gone. He's dead. He doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know what that dude's name was, but it's not Jeremy anymore.
Yeah, and that's so many people getting, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want nice things, you want to work for it, yeah. I worked with how many people that are getting nice stuff and new things. Sure. It's like, hey, I'm proud of them seeing that because they've definitely earned it.
Right.
But life should not be encompassed about they cost this and that. Like, that's not fun to sit there and just listen to people talk about numbers. And
it's not enjoyable, and
you're lacking something bigger in your life.
There's no connection.
Yeah.
There's no connection. That anybody in the world can pick up a bag of money and go to a store and buy shit. But when you bust your ass and you're away from your family and you're really fucking grinding hard to do something, build a company or whatever, that's all you, dude. That's all you. You're the one that's spending the time, the cycles, the money. It's all you. And you know, it's definitely cool. Like, you put a feather in your hat, like, oh, I started a business. Oh yeah, you're the guy that owned that. Yeah, I remember, we loved it. Whatever. Great. Ego. That's all that is. It's ego. That's ego saying you did something good. That's all that is.
Yeah, there's always ego, and no matter what, you're always going to have that, and it's hard to deflate that at times because we don't even know, so we're doing it. Like, someone says, oh, do that, and it's like, well, yeah, you used to do that company, right? Yeah. Well, it's hard to just like, I used to run that company or do this and that. It's hard to be mellow when someone really wants to know and dig and get the questions out without sounding so egotistical in that.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's good to have an ego and be boastful in that.
Well, we've talked about it. The ego takes care of you.
Yeah, it needs to be shown, because sometimes you need that ego to come about to, like, hey, I'm not someone to be messed with or fuck around with. I'm going to boast my ego and what I have in my pocket, my tool belt. Yeah. So you kind of calm yourself down a bit, and then.
Well, I think that yeah, especially now, like, having grown up quite a bit, you know, significantly, and really learned how to manage my emotions and whatnot. I think it really is. It's sort of on you to witness someone else's energy going into a negative manner or maybe a little excited. It's your responsibility, if you see that, to take that conversation and sort of go, okay, I'm going to be the one that takes this and goes, brings us back down a little bit, because I don't want to go to your level. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get freaked out and amped up because the neighbor's dog keeps shitting in my yard. I don't care. You obviously care a lot about it. But if you could just stop and think for a minute, what if I was to say to you, Jeff, what if you were pissed off? The neighbor's dog is always shitting in your yard, and I told you, well, what if you just didn't think about it? Like, yeah. Well, fuck, I, you know, and you know how it is. We all do it. We just don't fucking think about it for a minute, and it goes away.
It's a big thing to think about, especially now with the madness of the world. How much is out of our control? All of us right now.
Right.
The decisions the governments are making, schools, we got, you know, kids in schools. Yep. All of these things that are out, you know, due to this, you know, whatever you want to call it, a pandemic anymore, or whatever you want to say it is. But all these stressors that come that we can't control, no matter how much you think about it, how much you stress about it, no matter what what line you fall on, what side, you can't do anything about it. You just kind of have to wait, roll, adjust. Okay, if it goes this way, this is what we do. If it goes this way, it's no different than like a fire drill. Cool, fire's going on. Where are exits? Oh, the main exit's blocked. Yeah. Where do we go? It's just having plan A, B, C, and D, and so forth. Yeah. Because life is insane enough. There's so much to worry about if we just sit here and constantly focus on. There's so many things out of our control. Again, we talked before, we can't control the weather today. It's beautiful. It's cool outside. It's sunny, nice little breeze. It's glorious. Yep. But again, as humans, there are things we will never, ever be able to control.
Yeah. If you just start receiving instead of expecting, you walk outside and it's raining and you go, fuck, it's raining. Or you walk outside and you go, awesome. This is beautiful. We needed
it's
rain.
Going back to having
feels so
no
good.
expectations,
No
like
expectations.
we've talked about many
That's right.
times. And
Right. Maybe you walk outside and the news told you, hey, it's gonna be sunny. You walk outside and it's not sunny.
A podcast about Taoism and Lao Tzu's the Tao Te Ching, his 81 verses, and they were reading different ones. And both these gentlemen, it was about a 3-hour podcast on it. It was really good, but both of them were just like, yeah, having no expectations going into things. And like, that's kind of what, like, you're flowing with the way, this and that, like you're going into it. Okay.
Right.
And then you try not to have a reaction to it is, okay, this is what was said and this is what goes forth. Here's what we now do.
Yeah. You receive.
Exactly.
You receive.
And they talked about that for a good stint of like having no expectations with things. And it's easier said than done. And I can still say I'm guilty of this, but it's a lot of things of letting go, just refocusing that energy versus full thrust out. Okay, let's reserve some of it for myself. I'll give the energy when it's needed for, argument, whatever it may be, versus just, like atomic bomb going off. And then next thing I know, I'm just completely drained because I expelled all of my energy because something did not go how I expected.
Gave everything away.
Yeah.
And now you have to go and sleep and recharge and maybe meditate and go for a walk. You do all these things because you selflessly gave to somebody that was unknowingly being selfish.
Yeah.
Right? We have conversations every day with people where they are just fucking selfish.
You got energy drainers. You got people who give energy. Then you got people who put off nothing.
Yeah.
And we all fall into these different kind of crazy categories daily. But you all have people that will just ultimately drain you of your energy. And then others who will, man, after talking with them, I feel just so energized. It's like because they put off so much that it enlightens and enriches you.
Yeah.
And then you got some that they're just a wall. Nothing goes in and nothing comes out.
So I know somebody that's close to my circle, and I won't reveal their names or their whatever relationship to me. That's on them. But they had witnessed me just being calm. They had witnessed me like smiling and like loving life a little more than usual. Mm-hmm. And they approached me and they said, I'm tired of feeling like static with no noise. And I was like, fuck, that sums it up. It's fucking beautiful. It reminds me perfectly of how my brain felt. Like it was nonstop static, and it was up to me to pick out the little pieces, that meant something. But it all looked the same. It all felt the same. It all sounded the same. So after a while, it was just like, fucking who cares? I just do what I do. And if people fall down by the wayside, so be it. I'm charging ahead. Mm-hmm. And, they revealed to me that having been around me and witnessed some of my character trait changes and some of my emotions not coming out so much, being able to control shit, they said, how do I do that? And I just, practice. Fuck me. I said, I wish I could tell you it's a pill or it's a drink or it's like you learn to meditate and all of a sudden you're better. But Christ, man, look how long, we've been at this shit. And you still have moments where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we do.
And you lose your week, you lose your month, and you look back and you go, fuck, man, I haven't been thankful for shit in like 2 weeks. No wonder I've been miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I told this person, I said, listen, I will be here for whatever, but you have to be the one that comes up with the questions. I can't go to you and be like, hey, have you ever thought of this? And then you're like, oh,
yeah. Those are things you can put those out to try and get the answers, but ultimately it's left to that each individual person of asking the tough questions of, why is this, it's what, why, when, where kind of thing. It's you asking those questions, you having the answers to them, because then it's teaching you those learning moments about yourself of this. Okay, I understand this, what needs to be done, what needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
And so forth. It's kind of being your own therapist to yourself and then, going forward from there.
That's perfect. Yeah, you've got to be your own therapist, after you've learned what it takes, maybe with somebody else being your therapist for a while.
Yeah.
And that's a never-ending project. I've still got a therapist, I love it. I would never change that. But you, man, I also, like, in the same conversation, they had been talking to a family member who was giving them the feeling that they were, like, preparing for death, right? Like, oh, I just want to take care of these things just in case, and it upset them. And I said, okay, so what are you upset about? Well, I'm upset because, they're doing this, that, so maybe they think they're going to die. Maybe they're going to be here. I go, okay, so why does that upset you? And I got this look like, duh, dumbass, they're going to die. No. I get that. I understand that you have a box and on the outside it says grief or death or survivor or survivor's guilt. I understand that. But what is it about them not being here? What really is wrong? And you know what it was? It wasn't the person not being here. It was the person that I know that I'm close to saying, I never fixed things. I still feel like things are broken. I have regret.
Yeah.
Okay, so really, would it be okay if they died and you didn't have the regret? Same thing would happen. It's just how you feel about it.
That's just the difference where the moral compass lies in that scenario, sadly.
Sort of.
Death, yeah.
Sort of, right.
But it's you feel more burdened and saddened of grief because something you personally needed to take care of, you did not do.
Right.
So you're being a little selfish on that, which, again, that's not uncommon
normal
in those scenarios. But
really, if you just ask yourself why sometimes, why am I so upset about this? That's just an example.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Well, it's because maybe I spent a lot of time on it. Okay. Did you have to? Well, I chose to spend the time. So what are you mad about?
Yeah.
You made the decision.
It's kind of one of those
like
saying you shouldn't only spend so much time it is truly needed to what's going on. If you're going above and beyond that, then it's completely draining you.
Yeah, dude. Totally. So anyway, guys, I'm not going to spend 3 hours or even 2 hours talking about, why I did this or why I did that. But just know that I made the right decision and I'm happy and I stand by it. And I'm here to provide support however I can. We may sell to somebody. They may reopen. We may not. I don't know. You'll know, shortly after I know. And for anybody that's been along for the Barrel Brands ride and you're listening, it was beautiful. It was just long enough. It tasted just right. It was the perfect temperature. And I thank you for helping me to create such a beautiful dish. But we ate it, and now it's gone. We move on to the next meal.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Cool. Well, I think that's it.
I
think that's it. So episode 45 or 55 is done. It's in the books, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Always, guys. Thank you.
Peace. See you.